If you're buying a home in North Carolina and you think you have an inspection contingency, a financing contingency, and an appraisal contingency that will automatically save you, you're about to get stuck. This is the exact point where relocators and first-time North Carolina home buyers panic because a contract doesn't feel like many other states. In North Carolina, those contingencies don't operate like separate safety nets with separate deadlines the way people expect. Quick note, if you're planning to buy in the Charlotte area, make sure you text buyer and I'll send you my Charlotte buyer guide so you understand this before you sign. Make sure that you subscribe for weekly videos. Now let's get back to it. So let me explain what's actually happening and how you start the contract process the right way the moment you go under contract. Because in North Carolina, the clock is the difference between being protected and being trapped. Here's the misconception. Buyers think inspection, financing, and appraisal are separate exit doors. They think if inspection goes bad, I can cancel. If a loan hits a problem, I can cancel. If the appraisal comes in low, I can cancel. In North Carolina, those issues usually get handled inside one window, your due diligence period. That is the window you negotiate into the contract to investigate the property, confirm the numbers, negotiate repairs, and decide if you're moving forward. So if you're coming from another state, here's the mindset shift. Your due diligence period is your entire safety plan. That's where inspection decisions happen. That's where financing risk gets addressed. That's where appraisal risk gets managed. That's where you either tighten the deal or you walk away. And this is where buyers get stuck. Once due diligence ends, you're no longer operating from I can walk if this doesn't work. You're operating from I'm committed unless something major changes or the seller breaches. So the real question isn't, do contingencies exist? The real question is, how do I use the days I negotiated to handle every single thing that would normally be a contingency somewhere else? When you negotiate the number of days of your due diligence period, you're creating your timeline to do everything. And the biggest mistake buyers make is wasting the first half of that period getting organized. Here's what you do the minute you go under contract. On day one, you schedule inspections immediately, not later that week, immediately. You need time for the inspection. You need time for negotiation because repair negotiations are rarely one message. They can be multiple rounds of communication. You're not just looking for problems. You're deciding what's acceptable, what's negotiable, and what's a deal breaker while you still have leverage. At the same time, you push your lender aggressively. You're not waiting for the process. You're aiming to clear conditions early, because the worst time to discover a financing problem is when your leverage window is closing. A pre-approval is not a guarantee. The only thing that protects you is how early you surface issues and how quickly you solve them while you still have options. The appraisal risk. The appraisal comes in low. You're usually looking at a few outcomes. The seller adjusts the price, you bring the extra funds, or you renegotiate. But your negotiating power is the strongest when you're still inside your negotiated window, not at the last minute when everyone is exhausted and your choices are smaller if you have any. Now, here's an important disclaimer. I'm not an attorney and this is not legal advice. This is just buyer education so you understand how North Carolina contracts work and so that you can ask smarter questions and protect yourself. Now, if you're planning to buy in the Charlotte area, please text buyer to the number below and I'll send you my free Charlotte buyer guide so you go into your offer with your eyes open and your timeline tight. I'll see you in my next video. Later.